Oh, hey, welcome back. So today I'm going to be reviewing, rating, and giving facts on Batman and Robin. Batman and Robin came out in 1997. Once again, a powerhouse cast. Got fucking Uma Thurman, Arnold Schwarzenegger, George Clooney, Chris O'Donnell returning to play Robin, and Alicia Silverstone. Okay, Alicia Silverstone, not so much of a powerhouse actress, but she was big at that time because of the movie Clueless and, being the ditzy, funny blonde, but whatever, regardless. Anyways, so this movie had tons of potential, just like Batman Forever, but they took everything that they did wrong in Batman Forever and made it worse. It's pretty bad. I mean, this movie is so bad that George Clooney has been known to give people a movie ticket's worth of money if they tell him that they saw Batman and Robin in theaters. That's how bad this movie is. And I was like, when I was doing my research, I'm like, this movie's not that bad. But then I watched it again, I was like, fuck, this movie's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. I mean, it's entertaining in a dumb, stupid way. But as a movie, like, the plot's just horrible. The writing's bad. Tim Burton, this is the one movie out of all the four of them that Tim Burton had no hand in whatsoever. He didn't direct or produce because he was like, I'm done with this shit. And then Joel Schumacher returned, and even Joel Schumacher hated this. Like, Joel Schumacher didn't mind Batman Forever. He was okay with what he made. And it was okay for what Batman Forever was, but he was so upset with making this movie that before every take, he would say, remember, people, it's a cartoon. Action. And Chris O'Donnell said that every single time he yelled that, it would just make you not want to act. It would just... And you could tell, like, the acting is subpar. I mean, Schwarzenegger's acting is fine. So is Uma Thurman's. But, like, you could tell George Clooney's just somewhat irritated. And Chris O'Donnell just isn't acting the same as he did in Batman Forever. And Alicia Silverstone is annoying. But, yeah, it was a big budget movie, and it was a breakout role for George Clooney. It introduced him to Hollywood, and it progressed him into making tons of great movies. Chris O'Donnell's career pretty much went south after this. Uma Thurman blew the fuck up. Arnold Schwarzenegger was already big. But, yeah, so let's see what happens in Gotham in Batman and Robin. The movie opens up on Batman and Robin suiting up and selecting various tech to head out into Gotham.
I want a car. Chicks dig the car. This is why Superman works alone.
Okay, so two things. One, if you notice when they're suiting up, the bat suit and Robin suit have nipples. That was the first criticism of this whole movie, and that's... People were like, what the hell is that? And how the suit literally is like just ripped and stuff. It doesn't look like armor anymore like it did in the first two. That was a downfall for this movie. Also, if you notice, the Batmobile changed once again. In Batman and Batman Returns, it was the same Batmobile pretty much. Same design, except in the second one it was like shinier and just little tweaks. Different Batmobile in Batman Forever and a whole new different one in Batman and Robin. And it's a one-seater. It doesn't have the sliding door on the top or the canopy. And people didn't like that. But I guess the inspiration for it was the original Batmobile in the Batman TV series with Adam West, which basically was just a convertible. And that's almost what this looks like, is a convertible. And I think it looks really freaking stupid. But what do you think? You think it looks stupid? Okay, let's see what's going on in Gotham. There's a new villain in town, Mr. Freeze. He breaks into Gotham's History Museum to steal diamonds for his Freeze engine, but he didn't account for Batman to crash in and attempt to stop him. Mr. Freeze calls in his henchmen to keep Batman and Robin busy while he makes an escape with the diamond. As he begins his attempt to escape, Batman quickly acts to stop Mr. Freeze and to get the diamond back. Batman has severely underestimated Mr. Freeze, who simply overpowers him and freezes him to the hull of the rocket. Mr. Freeze tells Batman that he's gonna die, and he makes an escape. Robin shows up to save Batman. They both escape, but not before planting a bomb to explode the rocket so it doesn't crash back into Gotham. And then they sky surf down to Mr. Freeze. They chase Mr. Freeze into the furnace, where Robin acts foolishly and goes at him alone, being frozen in his place. Choosing family over villain, Batman lets Mr. Freeze go. Okay, so here's some facts. Arnold Schwarzenegger obviously plays Mr. Freeze. Around the same time this was being filmed, the third sequel to Conan was being made. It was going to be called Conan the Conqueror. The script had been written and everything. But he could only do one or the other. And Schwarzenegger opted to choose to do Mr. Freeze for the Batman movie instead of returning as Conan. And then that's when they got Kevin Sorbo to do the movie, but instead of Conan the Conqueror, they called it Call the Conqueror, because you can't do another Conan movie following off of the other two and it not be Schwarzenegger. So, and Call the Conqueror did great. Call the Conqueror, if you've never seen it, that's great. I'll probably do a review on that later too, but it's a really good movie, and this movie was just trash. This movie is bad. And actually, Arnold, this is one of the very few movies where the villain is paid more than the hero. Arnold Schwarzenegger got $25 million to play Freeze because at that time, he was the biggest name. Uma Thurman was brand new, pretty much. I mean, she'd been in Pulp Fiction and stuff. And then Chris O'Donnell, only been in Batman Forever. And George Clooney, although big now, at that time, the biggest movie he was in was From Dusk Till Dawn. So Arnold Schwarzenegger was the highest paid actor in this movie. And he chose to do this. Also, his suit, here's another fact, his suit weighs 70 pounds. And in an interview, when they asked all the cast members what is something that you could take from the set if you could, and he said he would want to take the suit because it looks cool and because it'd be a good workout just to wear it. And a 70-pound suit, that's pretty freaking heavy. But let's see what else is going on in this story. Meanwhile, in a secret lab on the other side of the world, a woman named Pamela Isley is working on a crossbreeding hybridization of plants and predators. But she stumbles into her employer's lab to see what he is up to. She finds out that he is using her formula dubbed Venom for military applications in creating super soldiers. The first of those super soldiers being none other than Bane. Pamela's employer, Dr. Jason Woodrow, notices that she stumbled into his lab and quickly takes her out. As asking to partner up and sharing the reward, she rejects him.
Sadly, I'm not good at rejection. I'm afraid you'll have to die.
Okay, some character facts. So Bane, right? Bane is actually comic accurate in this, as far as looks go, not personality. No, inside the comics, and the video games, he's actually smart, cunning, and of course strong. Until he takes the Venom, then he starts to be a little weird, just his rage takes over his logic, which is basically what they're trying to go for here. But it didn't go over well. It's way too cartoony, and he's actually played by an old WCW wrestler, just like one of those second letter guys that the main, like Hulk Hogan would just come in and beat him in 30 seconds. Yeah. Unfortunately, this guy died shortly after this movie was released in the theaters, which is sad, but still, he actually died of a heart attack. Yeah, that's pretty sad. Also, Dr. Jason Woodrow, Pamela Isley's employer said that, well, coworker said that he's actually a main villain in DC Comics. He's one of the Swamp Thing's main rivals, called the Floronic Man. He faces Batman sometimes, but mainly the Swamp Thing, because, the Swamp Thing is nature and Floronic Man is nature, so they go at it. He's actually the same character, not the actor, but the same character is in the DC show Swamp Thing. That is actually, Swamp Thing is the rights are getting bought, I think, by CW, either CW or Netflix, one or the other, and that should be really good because actually the Swamp Thing show is pretty freaking good. For one season, I don't know why they canceled that shit. That shit was freaking fantastic. But let's see what happens to Pamela Isley. Moments later, the ground begins to quake, and Pamela Isley comes out of the ground, newly reborn.
I think I've had a change of heart.
Oh, quite me?
Literally. The animal plant toxins had a rather unique effect on me. They replaced my blood with aloe, my skin with chlorophyll, and filled my lips with venom. Oh, and Jason, one other thing. Poison.
Okay, so as you can see, Pamela Isley is Poison Ivy, if you didn't know. And Uma Thurman did a fantastic job. If anything out of this movie was great, it's her job or her role as Poison Ivy. It's fantastic. It's beautiful. And what's really great is that she had creative rights in her contract so that throughout the movie, even though she had to follow the script pretty much, but she could change her look spontaneously. Like in this movie throughout, you will see that her wardrobe changes, her makeup changes, her hair changes. And it's really cool because it just gives more character to that character. And I just think she did a wonderful job. That's definitely one of the pluses about this movie is Uma Thurman as Poison Ivy. But one thing is that that's not how Poison Ivy was made in the comics. Dr. Jason Woodrow did not kill her and then she went into the earth and she came out. He experimented on her with chemicals and plant hybridization stuff. And she was would always come close to death, but then come back. Close to death, come back. And then that's how she became Poison Ivy. Kind of similar, but she didn't fully freaking die. I don't really care. She's freaking great as Poison Ivy. And she's beautiful, and she just does her very well. So let's see what else is happening in Gotham. Batman and Robin place a trap for Mr. Freeze by auctioning off the Bruce Wayne diamonds at a party. But Poison Ivy decides to drop in and take those diamonds. Mainly, she wants to pit the Bat and Bird against each other.
Why not send Junior home early? On the other hand, youth does have its advantages. Endurance, stamina.
Once the tension starts to get high, Mr. Freeze decides to crash the party.
All right, everyone. Chill. Hand over the diamond goblin gal. I'll turn you into mulch.
Poison Ivy, realizing that she cannot obviously control Mr. Freeze, she willingly gives the diamonds up to him.
Cold-hearted. Now, if you please.
If you insist.
Claiming his prize, Mr. Freeze makes a run for it, and a big car chase through Gotham ensues. Mr. Freeze, seeing an opportunity to take out Batman, he takes it. But Batman is not so easily taken down. In fact, it's Mr. Freeze who is getting taken down. Okay, so if you notice throughout this movie, even from just now, from the beginning to now, Mr. Freeze, Schwarzenegger, says a lot of one-liners that have to do with the cold or snow or freaking ice or something. Anything. There's actually 27 one-liners referring to snow, ice, or cold throughout this movie. And the only person using one-liners is Schwarzenegger. But it's okay because that's what he's known for. I'll be back. Get to the chopper. It's not a tumor. Stick around. I mean, You know, fucking. So it works. It's corny, but if it was coming from somebody else, it'd be even more corny. You know what I mean? It just works with Schwarzenegger because that's who he is. He's the one-liner king. But yeah, 27 one-liners having to do with freaking snow, ice, or fucking cold. Fucking stupid. Oh man. Okay, so let's see what else goes on in Gotham. Mr. Freeze is now locked up in Arkham Asylum, but is visited by Poison Ivy, who claims to be his sister. Meanwhile, Bane goes to the criminal property locker to get Mr. Freeze's suit so that they can all make an escape.
His name is Bane.
A longer service that delivers. Wow. You and me both. Retrieve my wife.
You never said anything about a wife.
Come on. I hope Mr. Bane can...
Okay, so that scene right there. A lonely service that delivers. Wow. I mean, that's... oh my god. Like, that's one of the reasons why this freaking movie did so bad. It's too comedic. Like, I love Arnold Schwarzenegger. I really do. He's like one of the greatest human beings of all time. Like, but come on, dude. Even when you were reading that script, you had to been like, what the fuck? Right? But in the criminal property locker, if you noticed in the first shot, it shows the Riddler's suit and Two-Face's suit from Batman Forever. And people are like, oh, that's cool. You know, they're locked up in Arkham. But continuity error. At the end of Batman Forever, we saw Two-Face fall and crash into the ocean floor with all those spikes and shit. So I'm assuming he's fucking dead. At least that's what we got in the end of Batman Forever, because only the Riddler was in Arkham Asylum. Because when Dr. Chase went to Arkham Asylum, she went to go check to see if Riddler still knew his identity. But both him and Two-Face found out that Bruce Wayne was Batman. So if Two-Face was still in Arkham, then he would know that Bruce Wayne is Batman and would have said something. But he didn't, apparently, because he's alive, I guess, in this one. But he's definitely died in Batman Forever. So that's confusing to me, and no one even thought to acknowledge it. They're just distracted by like, oh, look, it's Riddler and Two-Face's costumes. That's, like, really cool. No, it's pretty fucking stupid. I mean, the Riddler costume is cool, but, like, why would Two-Face's costume be there? He's dead. I don't understand that. And it looks brand freaking new. Anyways, let's see what else is going on in Gotham. Upon Mr. Freeze's escape, Batman and Robin check out his hideout and realize that Poison Ivy is nearby.
Poison Ivy.
While pursuing Poison Ivy, they run into Bane.
Just the beast.
Being separated from Batman, Poison Ivy decides to take Robin on alone, once again using her pheromones.
Oh, you want a kiss?
Failing with the bird, Poison Ivy turns her attention to Batman, who is way too smart for her shit.
No. First you're gonna tell me where Freeze is, and then you're going to jail.
I'm a lover, not a fighter. That's why every Poison Ivy action with here comes complete with him.
Bane grabs Batman, allowing Poison Ivy to escape. But Batman whoops that ass because he ain't no bitch. As Poison Ivy moves in for the kill, Batman stops them,
Poison kiss. It's a real issue with women, you know that? You just couldn't stand it, you're just gonna kiss
which
me.
causes some friction between their friendship.
He's right. I don't need your help. I'm going solo.
Okay, so some facts about the scene where Batman and Robin are in Mr. Freeze's lab. If you notice when Batman is walking, he kind of favors one leg. That's because between takes or between days, George Clooney decided to play some basketball. And he injured the lower part of his leg. And he has a cast on underneath his boot. So if you noticed, they try their hardest to not show his lower legs. You see, in this whole sequence, you see it very briefly. But if you slow it down, you could tell that it's digitally edited, what part you can't see, because it just doesn't look right. Yeah, so Clooney thought he had hops and fucking injured himself. Sorry, Clooney, you ain't got hops. White man can't jump. Let's see what else is going on in Gotham.
I am will blanket the
Afterwards, in Poison Ivy's hideout, Mr. Freeze makes himself at home, and they decide to take Gotham and the entire world for themselves.
Everything dead on Earth except us. A chance for Mother Nature to start again. Behold the dawn of a new age. My mutant plants have the strength of the deadliest animals. Once you have frozen mankind, these babies will overrun the globe. And we shall rule them. For we will be the only two people left in the world.
Yes. Adam and evil.
Yes.
You distract the Batman while I prepare to freeze.
I just want to stop and show you how, like, this is the reason why I love Schwarzenegger. So, Schwarzenegger is dedicated to his roles. He'll pretty much do anything. And if you look at him, he's all shiny blue and glittery. And he has no hair. You think, okay, he put a bald cap on. No. My boy shaved his head, his beautiful freaking hair, which he's always had great hair. Anyways, shaved his head, literally every day, would paint himself blue and would have glitter stuck to him, and then ice blue contacts. That's amazing. I love this guy. Like, you know how annoying that would be? No, obviously he was getting $25 million, but I mean, still, like, that's fucking annoying. And also, if you've noticed how I mentioned earlier that Uma Thurman had creative rights to her character, throughout the show, she has changed her hair and her costume and face stuff, makeup, everything. And just gives her character more character, like I said. And this actually is this right here, that the plot is one of the dumbest things ever, because, you know, in the comics, it's never about killing people. There's always like a personal motive. The villains always have a personal motive, like money or an invention of something, or killing Batman, basically. But it's never kill the entire planet. And that was another thing that people were like, what? No, that's way out of character. But, all right, well, let's see what else is going on in Gotham, shall we? A Robin signal lights up the sky, which just spells trouble.
It's not a Batman, it's a Robin signal. Ivy's calling me.
Name is Pamela Isley. I saw her talking to Gordon. She must have stolen his keys and changed his signal.
Yeah, she did it for me, for love.
She's infected us with some sort of pheromone extract.
Oh, is that what it is? Bruce, I'm under some kind of magic spell?
She wants to kill you, dick.
Would say anything to keep her away from me, wouldn't you? To keep her for yourself.
You once said to me that being part of a team means trusting your partner, and sometimes counting on someone else is the only way to win. You remember that? You weren't talking about being partners. You were talking about being a family. So I'm asking you, friend, partner, brother, will you trust me now?
Meanwhile, Alfred's niece discovers the Batcave.
Intruder alert. Intruder.
To help Batman and Robin.
I anticipated you would and took the liberty to create something in your size.
Suit me up, Uncle Alfred.
Oh, thank God that is over. Okay, I love Batman. I really do. Batman is my favorite superhero. And even though, like, this movie is just fucking whack, I still like it. It has its charm. So, you know, if you've seen the movie, you know how it plays out. And if you haven't seen it, you can guess how it ends, but not really how it plays out, because it actually is a surprise how it plays out, just a little bit. So if you've seen the movie, put in the comments what you liked about it, didn't like about it, and your favorite scene. If you haven't seen the movie, go watch it, just so you can understand how I feel. Come back here, put in the comments what you liked about it, didn't like about it, and your favorite scene. So, okay, this movie, before I let you go, Joel Schumacher, the director, later apologized for this movie. He blames the studio because they wanted a full family-friendly cartoony movie. But he implored them to let him make it a dark tone, just like Batman and Batman Returns, but they said no. They said Batman Forever made enough money that it'll just make just as much, and it didn't. Actually, you want to know, this is how WB was banking on Batman and Robin. They had 4 more Batman films planned. They had a direct sequel called Batman Unchained. And in Batman Unchained, he would face George Clooney was supposed to come back along with Chris O'Donnell. Batgirl wasn't going to be in it, but they were going to face Scarecrow and Harley Quinn. I really want to know how Harley Quinn played into it, but we will never find out. And in it, towards the end, the final fight, Scarecrow would use his fear toxin, and every villain in all the films would cameo. In his fear hallucination, he would see Jack Nicholson's Joker, Jim Carrey, Riddler, Tommy Lee Jones, fucking Danny DeVito, Catwoman. He would see all of them and he would fight them and then overcome the fear toxin. That would have been epic. That would have been amazing. Also, they were supposed to do a film adaptation of the graphic novel Batman Year One, which would have been a prequel and preceded everything else. And then they were also supposed to do, which I wish, a live action Batman Beyond. It would have been amazing with Terry McGinnis. Oh my God, it would have been fantastic. And they were supposed to do a Robin / Nightwing spinoff with Chris O'Donnell reprising. Oh my God. Only if this film would have fucking made bank and became acclaimed. Only if they didn't fuck up. We would have had all of that. Could you imagine everything I just told you? Doesn't it sound fucking epic? It sounds fucking epic to me. God damn it, WB. Jesus fucking Christ. Anyways, also, while this film was being made, Tim Burton wrote a script to bring back Superman called Superman Lives. And Nicolas Cage was supposed to play Superman. And if you can Google it, you can look it up. YouTube, there's Nicolas Cage in a Superman suit reading off the script and stuff like that. And Tim Burton's like, okay, yeah, blah, blah, blah. But then they nixed it. They cut down the whole fucking thing because of Batman and Robin's failure. Dude, this movie, it fucked up so much. It could have, Listen, I love Batman. I love Arnold Schwarzenegger. George Clooney's great. Uma Thurman is awesome. But I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to give Batman and Robin a 3 out of 10. This is the lowest rating I've given so far. It's just because, like, it's somewhat, it's not even really entertaining. I can't even say it's somewhat entertaining, but it's like dumb entertaining. And it just could have had so much potential if WB just would have gone back to the dark roots, or at least not gone too cartoony. And then we could have had all those awesome sequels and the spinoffs and other movies. It just would have been really great. It actually makes me kind of sad. Like, God damn it, WB. What kind of fucking assholes are you guys? Well, anyways, I'm finally done with the original Batman franchise. So, I don't know what I'm going to do next. I'm probably going to go into the movies that I have queued for my friends or for requests. So, if you have a movie that you would like me to do and look up facts and tell you stuff about it, drop that in the comments, or you can direct message me. But until then, see you later.